which was at the centre of an 11-year dispute between neighbours, has been sold at auction for £170,000. Nicholas Marcos and his mother, Marcia, are living in the property at Leigh On Sea and say they have no intention of leaving. The house was sold to cover £10,000 worth of court costs incurred when Mrs Marcos successfully took her former neighbour to court for building on her land. It will now be up to the new owners to decide whether to evict the Marcoses.
Now, all this week, we've been remembering the Dunkirk evacuation. Tomorrow marks the 70th anniversary of Operation Dynamo, when hundreds of thousands of Allied troops were rescued after a disastrous campaign.
Well, the escape was made possible by hundreds of private boats, many of them from the east coast, that came to be known as the Little Ships of Dunkirk.
Tomorrow, we'll be making that same trip from Ramsgate on a boat from our region that crossed the Channel all those years ago. And in a moment, we'll hear from local veterans who owe their lives to the flotilla. But
first, Malcolm Robertson joins us live from Ramsgate. Malcolm, we can see it's a little bit blustery there, but how are preparations going generally?
Well, Jonathan, just over 12 hours to go, and of course Ramsgate was the setting for Operation Dynamo, that incredible effort to bring thousands of Allied troops back from the beaches of Dunkirk. 850 little ships were involved that day. Now, tomorrow there'll be considerably less than that, probably less than 50, but all of them will have been involved at Dunkirk in 1940, a lot of them with East Anglian connections. This is one of them, this motor yacht Reese 1. Back in 1940 she was called White Heather, and since 1959 she's been at Mersey Island in Essex. With me is the skipper, Alan Jackson. Now just tell us, Alan, what she would have been doing in 1940.
Well, like so many of the little ships that are around us now, she was taken out to the beaches of Dunkirk. Her principal job was to ferry the soldiers and what bit of equipment they could back onto the big boats. But then she took a trip back to Ramsgate, loaded with soldiers. She then did another 2 trips back to Ramsgate independently, again full of soldiers, and that's basically what they were there for.
Brilliant. Thanks so much indeed. An incredible 338,000 troops were brought back, which is more than the combined current populations of Norwich, Ipswich and Bedford. So it really was absolutely fantastic. And each and every one of those would have had a story to tell. These are 3 of them.
We just got the word, everyone, to make to Dunkirk, best way you can.
All we could hear was shells whistling through the air above us.
We got to Dunkirk and we were one of the last out.
These 3 men, back in 1940, were 3 young soldiers who had recently celebrated their 21st birthdays. But then the call came, every man for himself, get to Dunkirk. What has become a heroic, awe-inspiring rescue in our history was then, no doubt, a time of confusion, comradeship and courage.
I was driving this lorry, so I loaded what I could get on there, and I also picked up several wounded, or as many as I could get on. The roads, they were absolutely blocked with everything. So I pulled the old lorry into the field on the side of the road, smothered it with the diesel and set light to it.
We were being shelled by the Germans at that time, so they weren't far off. And I walked down to the water's edge in the morning, and out of the early morning mist came a dinghy with a couple of sailors in it. One with his hat on the back of his head. And he said, anybody can swim half a mile or get out there, I'll take you.
We left trouble behind us. I mean, once we got out of the area where the German fighters were concentrating their fire on much larger ships, and it seemed no time at all before we were out of the area of conflict. And that was just like a beautiful summer's boat trip, and cocoa all round.
The Despite the 70 intervening years, the memories of Dunkirk are engraved on the minds of these three men. They know they are lucky. They survived.
I thought one of the most wilderness sights when we saw the old White Cliffs of Dover. Honoured to have taken part.
An incredibly moving report there, Malcolm. What are we expecting conditions to be like tomorrow?
Well, I think we're expecting to be down to force 2. There has been a bit of bad news because Tramilia, which was one of the boats coming down from Woodbridge to Ramsgate, has decided to pull out. But this is one ship that will definitely be taking part. Greta, built in Brightlingsea. If it's not the biggest, it's certainly got the tallest mast. And she was a sailing barge, as I say, built in Brightlingsea, 118 years old. With me is the skipper, Steve Norris. Not just the skipper, but you live on this ship as well. Just tell us what she would have been doing when she was built all those years ago.
Originally, she was carrying cargo for seed crushers from Colchester round to London and then back again. That was up until the First World War, and then she got transferred down to Kent, where she stayed for the rest of her life. Still in the same trade, and then in the Second World War she was carrying munitions from up on the River Medway down to the ships in Sheerness Harbour, and obviously took part in Operation Dynamo as well.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Now, you probably recognise this one, MTB 102. If you've been watching the programme on Monday, you'll have seen her, and you'll have seen those dramatic pictures on Saturday when Richard Basie very kindly took us off the coast of Lowestoft to put her through her paces, took us up to pretty much 30 knots an hour, but she won't be doing that tomorrow. I'm delighted to say that Richard Basie is here. Now, Richard, you've been across the channel many times, but presumably it never loses its appeal or its excitement.
It's always very exciting, and it's always a great privilege to be able to take a boat like MTB 102 back over to Dunkirk for to the scenes of her greatest hours.
OK, well, I know you're taking some guests tomorrow, and one of them is she's somewhere here. Here she is. I don't know if it's good news or bad news for you, Richard, but we've got Lorna Ramsey who'll be on board. He'll be reporting for us. Looking forward to it, Lorna?
Yeah, I can't wait. It should be absolutely fantastic, and I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is that welcome at Dunkirk. I think it's something that I and everybody else will never forget. So you can see my report tomorrow on Anglia at 6.
Well, good luck to Steve Norris, good luck to Lorna, and good luck to Richard as well. As I say, we'll be reporting tomorrow. But not just good luck to them, good luck to all those taking part tomorrow from Ramsgate to Dunkirk. Let's hope they have a very safe and enjoyable passage, and I'm sure they'll have an absolutely fantastic day.
Thank you, Malcolm. Well, as Malcolm just said, on tomorrow night's programme, we'll be in France to show you the little ships arriving at Dunkirk, and we'll be at nearby Le Paradis, where there'll be commemorations to mark the massacre 70 years ago of 97 members of the Royal Norfolk Regiment.
I do hope you can join us for our special coverage tomorrow, but in the meantime, you can catch up with all of this week's Dunkirk anniversary coverage. It's on our website at itv.com/Anglia, and of course, yes, good luck to everyone taking part tomorrow. Now, there's plenty more to come tonight.